thanks for clicking. So we're going to go through pretty much how to de-Google a phone right now. So we chose the Lineage operating system for very specific reasons. And why did we choose this operating system to de-Google the phone?
I think the main reason is just the number of phones that are that can be de-Googled. Lineage has the largest collection of images available. So it's not a commercial organization. The website is lineageos.org, I believe it is. And so this isn't a company that's commercially selling these images or providing these images. This is a user base of people that are passionate about what they do. And so it's like, okay, so there are so many phones available in the used market. The Lineage website clearly shows which phones, which models will be compatible, and you have to pay careful attention to it. It's not only, it's not only like, for example, the phone type, the LG G3, for example. Well, it has to be, I think it's a D852 or a D850, and you need to
55. I think.
55. We'll show all that stuff. So you have to pay attention to that. So that's why we chose Lineage.
And we chose the LG G3 and the Samsung A5. We chose the LG G3 because it's relatively inexpensive. The battery can come out.
Yeah, the big thing was cost, right? So it's sort of like, it's a phone that first came out in 2014. The front camera is pretty, or the back camera is pretty good, but the front camera isn't great. But again, what we were talking about before, the purpose of a de-Googled phone is to get back to basics. And the Samsung Galaxy A5, the 2017 version in specific.
Yeah, specifically.
The good thing about that is that the 2017 phone, Samsung didn't change any of their hardware during that year. So if you get a 2017 version or a 2016 version, but what we're talking about and making available for people is, selling these phones is the 2017. It's the latest and greatest hardware. Both the front and back camera are great, always on display. So it's sort of like, it's a lot of great features, but the phone is not too expensive. And again, Lineage is supporting those phones.
Yeah. So when we are de-Googling a phone, the first step to do is, one, find a phone supplier, and two, like such as us perhaps, and two, find it on Lineage and make sure it's the correct one and that the operating system is supported.
Yeah.
And then you go into their download menu.
Yep.
And download both zipped copies of the.
Right. So there's So there's the recovery image and then the actual operating system. So one is, you have to download both of those. We'll go into details on where to put those files and how to do things. So having some experience, command line experience with Windows, to be able to change directories. You don't have to know specifically what the command lines exactly are doing, but it's good for you to be familiar with how to open a command line as an administrator. And so when we started this project, it was like, we're going to provide detailed instructions, but there probably are going to be a lot of people that would just be like, hey, where can I get one of these phones so that I can just take the phone and carry on?
Even with the instructions that Lineage offers, we found that there was a few missed steps, and there's always a hiccup pretty much on every step. So it's not as easy as it seems sometimes.
Well, with our detailed instructions, our detailed instructions have looked after all that. But pretty much every phone that that we've looked at, the instructions. I said to Kayla when we started this, it's like, I love the work the people at Lineage are doing, but the fact is, it's a collection of people that work and do this kind of stuff every day, and so they take for granted things like, how to have the ADB command tools installed on your computer, or for example, how to that you've got LG drivers, USB drivers installed. And as we found out today, for example, with the new phone model, it's like the things that you don't think are going to take the time take a great deal of time. So that's why we're making the detailed instructions. But for people that don't want to deal with it, that just want to spend a few $100s for the G3 or whatever, it'll already be done. It'll have Lineage OS, which looks after updating itself, and we can make these phones available.
Yeah, right. And we have noticed that some of the Lineage operating systems, although they're very, very good, we we're not fans of some of the features for the apps. So
right. So I noticed, for example, my carrier here in Canada, when I put my SIM card in, the default text messenger, the SMS Messenger app, it works fine. But if somebody sends me a text message when the phone is in standby, there's no notifications. The notification system doesn't work. And the moment you unlock the phone, then you get all these beeping sounds and the notifications happen. But it's not the operating system itself. If I download SMS Messenger app,
it's just
another type app, it works fine.
Yeah.
So, but it's a work in progress. But the basics, I have demonstrated that using it as a phone, sending and receiving email. Now with the text messengers, the camera, you've got all the reasons we talked about before. It's sort of like the best of a phone, and why we're going to call it maybe the wise phone.
The wise phone.
And why we're not going to sell the latest and greatest, or phones that are in the $500 or $600 or $700 range. It's sort of like I don't see really the point, because if the cameras are already good and you've got a good amount of storage on the phone with the option for an SD card, why do you need to have the latest? And environmentally, I mean, just to be able to recycle, really truly recycle and reuse something to the fullest extent of its capability, instead of the phone winding up in a landfill or in a recycling, you can get an extra 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years out of a de-Googled phone from 2017, and not need the latest. The latest and greatest, not necessarily. What's it for?
And one of the major points we'd like to make is, again, that you really shouldn't be using, if you're de-Googling the phone, really shouldn't be using the Google apps.
Right, a lot of the apps that have Google Services Framework on. So it's interesting. Maybe there will be another video, but Kayla is in the process of making the transition. Experimenting with a de-Googled phone, and it's sort of like, okay, well, I suggested that not just simply using Samsung Utilities, for example, to copy all your apps over from your old phone to your new phone. I suggested that could invite some...
It mirrors all of everything on your phone.
So you're going to get a bunch of apps. What I suggested was like, okay, look at it maybe from, okay, let's rebuild and redefine what the purpose of a cell phone is in your life. And we're getting away from the technical stuff, but it's, as you're installing apps, once you've got Lineage OS installed and you're running through the first time setup,
RPK downloads.
Yeah, the downloads to get the APK files for F-Droid Store and the basic apps that you need. We'll show that in the instructions. But think carefully about the apps that you're going to put on there, because that's the reason for having a de-Googled phone. And I think it's a really nice opportunity to kind of reboot and go, okay, if I do want to do social media, maybe there's another way I can use my old phone connected just to Wi-Fi or something like that. And then your main daily use phone, focus on what is it that you're actually wanting to do. And so it goes back and forth to this, ties in with the technical, the instructions of it is a procedure to do this. Is it worth it? I think it really is, because it allows you to really proactively think about things. But it's not for everyone, and that's why we're going to supply phones for you.
Thanks for clicking and staying with us. Don't forget to subscribe and like us on Instagram and all of those Google apps. And we will also be posting this to Bitchute and LBRY, should you like to visit us there. And don't forget to subscribe to us there as well. Thanks. Stay safe out there.